family has directly benefited from centuries of slavery and racial violence and exploitation. The farm needs to be held accountable for this. Now, I like to quote a great man. And the person that I want to take this opportunity to quote today is Martin Luther King. Now, this is what Martin Luther King said. And I quote, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." That is what we'll remember. Not the hateful and racist words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And why am I talking about this today? Why do I speak about this today? The reason I talk about this today is the fact that Prince Harry loves his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth. He loves his grandmother. Prince Harry has even gone on national TV and said that in the Oprah interview that he has so much of high respect for his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth. He has so much high respect for his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth. Now we see Prince Harry, even right now, he wants his children to eventually visit the UK, the country that he's called his home for such a long time. And I understand him. I understand Prince Harry. He wants to go back home to see probably the Queen Elizabeth. Nobody knows about their personal relationship. But then in light of all of this, our grandson, whom the royal family issued a statement saying that Prince Harry and Meghan and Archie are much loved members of the royal family. So why is the Queen silent? Why is it that the Queen is silent when her grandson is being abused every single day? When her grandson has to practically make a request to ask for security to the Home Office. And even now, today, one thing I want to talk about is the fact that, according to recent reports from the so-called UK tabloids, if what they say recently is to be believed, one thing about UK tabloids that you need to know is one thing. First of all, they lie a lot. That's a fact. They lie a lot. They lie and they lie completely. I think they've even beaten the devil at lying. Make no mistake about that. They've beaten the devil at lying. UK tabloids lie for just a cent. They lie to make an extra buck in a single day. Make no mistake about that. Now, recently, they just said that Home Office will not grant Prince Harry's request to personally pay for his own security from the Met Police. That's the request that Prince Harry has made. One thing you need to understand is the fact that Prince Harry has his own private security in America. However, the private security in America, if they were to come to the UK, they will not be allowed to carry firearms. Now that's a bone of contention for Prince Harry, who has asked for him to receive Met Police. His family needs armed security. However, they don't want to give it to him. They don't want him to have armed security. And Prince Harry has said, due to recent neo-Nazi threats, he may not be able to provide efficient protection to his family if he doesn't have armed security alongside him. And one thing I like is the fact that I heard someone say, after UK tabloids, he called out UK tabloids and said, after the constant incitement of hate and constant probing, he used the words probing of UK tabloids towards Harry and Meghan, after the constant harassment, the constant probing, those are the words that this person specifically that I am talking about used. I saw on Twitter by UK tabloids. He said, after the constant probing, Prince Harry is right to ask for security, armed security. The non-neo-Nazi threats, the constant probing by UK tabloids has made him and his family, his wife, his children, a target because of what UK tabloids have done to him. And what are they waiting for? What are they waiting for? For a tragedy to happen? For them to constantly profit off? You know how UK tabloids have profited long after Princess Diana's death? They basically use the terms, what is it that Princess Diana would have loved this? Princess Diana would have loved that. I'll tell you what Princess Diana would have loved. For her children to live in peace, love, and harmony. If this were a normal world. Unfortunately, after what UK tabloids have done to Princess Diana's son and his beloved wife, targeting Meghan every single day for the past 5 years, from the moment her relationship to Prince Harry became public, they've made them a target. Despite all of this, despite everything, still, they have the audacity to deny a son whose mother was chased by UK tabloids to her death by paparazzi. Those pictures ended up on front pages of UK tabloids. Why am I saying UK tabloids when Princess Diana was chased by photographers? Why is it am I implicating UK tabloids? Because the pictures of Princess Diana's accident ended up on front pages of UK tabloids the next day after she had the accident. Prince Harry has said this before in an interview. Instead of helping Princess Diana, the photographers were taking pictures of her while she was dying at the back of a car after the accident, that she was very much alive. Instead of helping her, they were taking pictures of her. And why am I saying this today? Why do I say this today? I go back to the Queen's silence. Prince Harry said that the royals are fearful of UK tabloids. If UK tabloids turn on them, even just by a bit, the monarchy will fall. And make no mistake, I agree with what Prince Harry said. I completely agree. If UK tabloids turn on the royal family, immediately the royal family will fall. Immediately. I can tell you that for certain. The royal family will be abolished. The institution of the royal family will be abolished should UK tabloids ever turn on the royal family. I completely agree with that 1,000 times infinity %. I agree with what Prince Harry said. And apparently, one thing that I also want to feature today is a comment that was made most recently by a so-called carnival of so-called expert. Now, I'm currently looking for that comment. Now, this is the comment that he made. I found it. This is what he said, and I quote, I won't mention this person, but I'll mention what he said. I've not had a chance to catch up on everything written about the royal family while I was away, but I have read a fair amount of nonsense about the way the British media works. He said most members of the royal family go through periods where they are flavor of the month with press and public, and other times they are not. The truth is that Harry and Meghan are getting some stick in British newspapers at the moment because editors and reporters have seen how they operate and they don't like it. And rightly or wrongly, believe their readers don't like it. As you can see, UK tabloids. It also brings me back to what Camilla Tominey said. Camilla Tominey is a liar, obviously. But there's one thing that she said, that woman is allergic to telling the truth. That woman is allergic to telling the truth. She will never ever tell the truth no matter what. I mean, the devil even does not lie more than Camilla Tominey is a liar. Those UK tabloids lie a lot. Now, this person, after he said, Camilla Tominey said this, she said that the press, UK tabloids, that's what they call themselves. They call themselves the press. They say they shape public opinion. And I agree with that. The press do shape public opinion of someone. That's why Prince Harry and Meghan have gotten so much flack. That's why these racist hate accounts are formed up on YouTube, on even quoting UK tabloids. They formed up on YouTube, or Twitter, or other spaces just to incite hate on Prince Harry and Meghan. Now, that's why I was saying previously, imagine, according to a recent report, is that hate content towards Meghan has generated up to $3.5 million for hate accounts based on advertiser views and all that. Basically, those revenue per mil, what we use to determine monetization and the amount of money every creator makes on YouTube or any other platform. These people have created so much money, up to $3.5 million monetizing hate on YouTube about Meghan, monetizing hate content. They profited immensely, a lot, immensely. And it's a huge shame. It's a huge shame what they've been able to do to Prince Harry and Meghan. Now imagine if hate accounts can make that much, inciting hate towards Harry and Meghan. Imagine how much UK tabloids have made from inciting hate towards Meghan. I'd like to bring you back to what someone called Rachel Johnson said. No. As a matter of fact, let's wait, because before I finish, you'll understand. Before I go to Rachel Johnson, the one who made the exotic DNA comments about Meghan, those racist comments, before I come to her, let's first listen to what someone responded after Richard Palmer said, I mean the carnival of so-called expert. I wasn't going to mention his name, but you know what? Let's just mention his name. Let's mention the names of this so-called carnival of so-called experts that have incited so much hate towards Prince Harry and Meghan. Now, one person responded and saying this: Prince Harry and Meghan are working. At least they are working. I don't get why people aren't even mentioning how little the Cambridges have done. So the person who made this comment asked this carnival of so-called expert, why the silence on the likes of Prince William and Kate Middleton doing so little, and Prince Harry and Meghan actually working and getting so much flack from UK tabloids? Now, the answer to this is this. Many royal reporters, so-called carnival of so-called experts, pirates with press cards, as Prince Harry called them, they don't like that Harry just wouldn't tolerate their racism and sexist coverage. Like, how dare you? Won't let us abuse you and your wife? And they worked to convince their readers that journalism is the same thing as abuse, that it's perfectly okay. That's what UK tabloids, pirates with press cards have convinced their readers. I mean, take a look at this. Think about this. Think about this for a second. While you're listening to this podcast, think about this for a second. Why is it that so many of these people who call themselves Kate Middleton and Prince William's fans that are mostly racist towards Meghan, they have generated, instead of forming channels to support Prince William and Kate Middleton, they have formed channels dedicated to inciting hate towards Meghan. That's how racist they are. That's how racist these people have become. Why is it that these people, whenever they talk about anything, they know the abuse and the racism that Meghan experienced, they know it. They choose to deny it, but they know it. Why is it that every single time they keep on bringing up and saying, look, Kate Middleton also experienced was called Waity Katie. Okay? Why can't Harry and Meghan just take it? They say that they know this is how British tabloids operate. That they called Kate Middleton Waity Katie as she was waiting to marry Prince William. But as Meghan perfectly said in the Oprah interview, being rude and racist are not the same thing. They are not the same thing. Being rude and being a racist are most certainly not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Now, let's go back to this on the Queen's silence. In May 2018, Prince Harry, the sixth in line to the British throne, married Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, whose mother is African American. Doria, the most amazing mother. I have to stop there and say Doria is the most amazing mother. Despite seeing all the abuse that Meghan faced, Doria even knew what Meghan was experiencing. Do you know that Doria ran a suicide prevention marathon at a time when Meghan was facing the most abuse from UK tabloid press? And I repeat again, rude and racist are not the same. Rude and racist are not the same. They are not the same. They are not one and the same completely. Now, Meghan, whose mother is African American and Thomas Markle is white, much to the delight of commentators eager to witness the modernization of a 1,000-year-old historically white institution, it was widely assumed that Prince Harry and his wife Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, would serve as goodwill ambassadors to the Commonwealth nations. The Queen calls herself the head of the Commonwealth. That's how they mostly refer to the Queen as the head of the Commonwealth, which has predominantly comprised of majority populations of color, black, brown, mixed race people. But yet, a mixed race woman joins the royal family and she has to be bullied out of the UK, practically driven to the point of she even thinks about committing suicide. Yes, despite all that, the Queen calls herself the head of the Commonwealth, Queen Elizabeth. And the Queen could find the time to support the likes of Boris Johnson's current wife, Carrie Symonds, when he was his then girlfriend at the time. The Queen issued a statement supporting the then Prime Minister's Boris Johnson, actually current Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson's girlfriend Carrie Symonds, while she was pregnant with their first child. The Queen issued a statement telling UK tabloids to back off when the Prime Minister was in hospital fighting COVID-19. Now, the Queen could actually find her voice. The Queen found her voice. The Queen was not silent when it applied to Boris Johnson's then girlfriend Karen Symonds and now wife, but could not find her voice when it pertained to Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, the first mixed race royal to ever join the UK royal family, the first mixed race royal in an all-white institution. Meghan was the first mixed race royal, but the Queen could not find the time to issue a statement publicly condemning the constant incitement of hate, bullying, and abuse that Meghan was facing, and calling out the UK tabloids for being racist towards her. But why? Why is the Queen so silent? Why is the Queen silent? The Queen is the head of the Commonwealth. Meghan was an asset to the Queen, but yet they kept quiet while the asset to the Queen and country was being bullied every single day. And many of these people who live in the Commonwealth, as I've said, are populations of color. And Meghan joining the royal family would have helped the UK monarchy usher into the 21st century to modernize the monarchy, to become actually diverse. But one thing that the British royal family prides itself in being is that it never ever changes. That's something that we've heard from UK tabloids, the so-called carnival of so-called expert. We've even heard from the Queen's own daughter, Princess Anne, saying that the monarchy prides itself in not changing. And they just could not stand the fact that a mixed race woman joined the royal family. That change was too much for them. In addition to that is the fact that the popularity that Meghan received when Meghan and the Queen went out for their first ever trip together. Should I say engagement together? Meghan talked about the Queen even putting a shawl or a blanket because we know the weather in England is always very cold. Meghan said in the Oprah interview the Queen was always so nice to her. And I can understand. We saw people lining up the streets with flowers and so much happiness. Some even going and telling the Queen, Queen, give the flowers to Meghan, give the flowers to Meghan. And that moment was the beginning, was the moment that Meghan had to be pushed out by the royal family. In addition to being mixed race, the fact that the public had grown an affection to Meghan to the point that the public were gifting flowers and asking for flowers to be given not to the Queen, but to Meghan herself. That was too much for courtiers to bear. That was too much for members of the royal family to bear. That was too much for the Queen to bear. Remember one thing about the Queen. The Queen had a sister. Her name was Princess Margaret. During that time, Princess Margaret was even way more famous, more famous than Queen Elizabeth herself. And because of the fact that she was more famous, the spare at that time, Princess Margaret was more famous than the heir to the throne at the time, Queen Elizabeth. And for that, she was smeared every single day to the point that her mental health, her health deteriorated. It was only then that the Queen lifted her finger and asked British tabloids to finally stop. And they stopped. They listened. Princess Margaret was rendered to have had enough of the smear campaign, and UK tabloids stopped. Fast forward to now. The spare. Prince Harry isn't even the spare anymore. He's now sixth in line to the throne. The spare now is the likes of Prince George. We have an entire line now. Princess Charlotte. But still they have to bully the spare because they have to bully Prince Harry. Because they're not yet done with him. They're not finished. Prince Harry is still popular, and that irks many in the royal family as well as the UK tabloids. Now, what I don't understand is the fact that the royal family, with all its power, with all its might, why not just ask UK tabloids to just back off Meghan and stop covering her? If she was so threatened alongside Prince William of Meghan's popularity, why not just ask UK tabloids not to cover Meghan? And the invisible contract also lies in the fact that UK tabloids want money. The reason for that is that UK tabloids want money. The only reason they even cover the royal family is because of the money they generate, the income they receive. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so interested. I mean, UK tabloids have currently even been engaged in conducting polls saying Prince Harry and Meghan's popularity has diminished. My question is an obvious lie, obvious lie. My question is if someone's popularity, if Prince Harry and Meghan's popularity has diminished in the eyes of UK tabloids, then why is it that UK tabloids are still covering them? Why? Why are you covering someone you've called irrelevant? Why every single day you write an article asking, is Harry coming back to the UK? When will Harry return to the UK? Will Harry bring Meghan to the UK? Those are some of the questions that UK tabloids have been asking all this time. Even if it reaches the Queen's Jubilee, the main question for the UK tabloids isn't even about the Queen's Jubilee. It's if Harry and Meghan coming to the UK? Is Harry coming to the UK alone? Due to this security issue, Harry and Meghan are not coming back to the UK. And the cycle keeps on continuing again and again and again and again and again, all for clicks. What UK tabloids have failed to understand is the fact that Prince Harry clearly wants nothing to do with them. The rejection they have received for Prince Harry has been too much for them to bear. Listen, they told Meghan to go back to America. So they wanted Meghan to leave the UK. That's pretty much clear. They wanted Meghan to leave the UK. What they didn't anticipate is the fact that Prince Harry would come with her. That was not part of the plan. We've even had people working for the so-called the Pirates with Press Cards, which is basically the monarchy's PR, saying that the institution of the monarchy believed that Prince Harry would come back, but he would come back alone. So much for that statement about Prince Harry, Meghan, and Archie are much loved members of the royal family. No wonder Meghan said, I know that you don't care about me or our son Archie, but please just let Prince Harry keep his security. A wife had to plead and write letters on behalf of her husband, Prince Harry, to ask the so-called family that claims to love Prince Harry, that actually write articles and statements saying Prince Harry, Meghan, and Archie are much loved members of the royal family. Those lies they tell the public for the purposes of PR, the lies they tell the public. But I'm sure that each and every single one of us are not buying into it. Despite all of these lies from UK tabloids, from the royal family, Harry and Meghan are much loved members of the royal family, the royal family clearly doesn't show or understand what love is. They don't understand what love is. And to be honest with you, they don't even understand what duty is. They don't understand what duty is. Why am I saying this? Is the fact that even during the pandemic, the royal family made more money during the pandemic than any other time in its entire history. They asked for bailouts. Our family, worth billions and billions of dollars, who practically own England, vast lands in England and around Scotland, in the Commonwealth. That family, the royal family that owns all of these things, the royal family actually calls Prince Harry and Meghan much loved members of the royal family, but still won't provide the much needed security that Prince Harry and Meghan need to protect their family. They won't do it. And yet the Queen, the so-called beloved Queen of England, is silent as her grandson keeps on being abused, asking for security, pleading, and even asking for a review to receive security that even Prince Harry himself has said he will personally pay for it. But still, they refuse to grant him the much needed security to provide and protect his family. Now, going back to Meghan, gesturing towards her anticipated future role in the farm while she was joining the royal family, Meghan's bridal veil featured embroidered flora representative of each of the 53 British Commonwealth countries, out of respect for the Queen as the head of the Commonwealth. But still, they had to kick her out despite everything. Now, the prospect of a more inclusive, modernized monarchy, embodied by the union of Prince Harry and Meghan, was indeed short-lived. However, 8 months after welcoming their first child, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, the Sussexes announced in January 2020 that they were stepping back as senior royals. They intended to divide their time between the UK and North America and attain financial independence. The couple did not delve into the specifics behind this sudden break with the firm, but it is no secret, it is not a secret that Meghan, a woman of African ancestry, has faced persistent racist, I want to repeat this, rude and racist are not the same. Rude and racist are not the same. Meghan has faced persistent racist and sexist attacks from the British media and online. All UK tabloids are publicly gone on their newspaper stations, gone on their radio talk shows to say one thing, and I quote them. I'm quoting a so-called carnival or so-called expert. He said this, and I quote, "Much of the stories about about Prince Harry and Meghan are coming from within the royal family. The constant negativity towards Prince Harry and Meghan that UK tabloids publish are coming from within the royal family. And we know who is behind this. They showed their faces during Meghan's case against the Daily Mail, when Prince William authorized Jason North to issue a statement against the Duchess of Sussex. Prince William showed his face. He may have tried to hide it so many times, but the question that you have to ask yourself, who has benefited the most from the constant negativity towards Prince Harry and Meghan, the Sussexes? No one has benefited more from the constant negativity towards Meghan and Harry more than Kate Middleton and Prince William. Not a single one of them. No one else in the royal family has benefited more from the constant negativity, racism towards Meghan than Kate Middleton and Prince William. Open your eyes. He who cannot see, let him open his eyes. He who has ears, let them hear. This is right in front of their eyes. Open your eyes. The press has speculated that Meghan's rich and exotic DNA will thicken the Windsor's watery, thin blue blood. Described Meghan as almost straight out of Compton. Discussed how her family went from cotton slaves to royalty, but apparently the UK tabloid said, "Oh, what racism? Oh, we've heard from the so-called racists targeting Meghan online. Oh, what racism did Meghan experience? Oh, I didn't see racism." From Camilla Tomini is a liar said, "I did not see racism in the coverage of Meghan," says the woman who linked Meghan's work and quoted a known white supremacist and said that Meghan's cookbook is linked to 19 domestic terrorists. Yes, Camilla Tomini is a liar. That Camilla Tomini is a liar. She said, "I didn't witness racism. I just saw xenophobia. I saw some anti-American rhetoric towards Meghan, but I didn't see any racism." Those are words from Camilla Tomini is a liar. That woman lies. That woman is allergic to telling the truth. She's allergic to telling the truth. Camilla Tomini is a liar, and she is a liar. Now, she said that Meghan did not experience racism and that, okay, I saw anti-American language towards Meghan, as if one thing is much, much better than the other. It's not. They were xenophobic towards Meghan, and she's trying to downplay what they did to Meghan. She's trying to downplay what they've done to her. The constant incitement of hate towards Meghan, what they've done to her, they're trying to downplay it. They even recently tried to downplay Harry's request to protect his family. But one thing I'm glad about is the fact that one person said to Camilla Tominey is a liar. Due to the constant probing of Prince Harry, those are the words that he used towards Prince Harry and Meghan. They, from the UK tabloids and newspapers, they desperately need security because of what UK tabloids have done. I was happy to hear that comment, at least for once. I was happy to hear that comment. We've seen the racism describing Meghan as straight out of Compton. Meghan even had to go to a court case during the privacy and copyright case against the Daily Fail. Meghan corrected some falsehoods, and some of the things that she corrected was UK tabloid, the Daily Fail, writing that she was straight out of Compton. Meghan herself said she was not from Compton, but don't get that in the way of UK tabloids of being racist towards Meghan. They can't control themselves. They cannot control themselves. One person made this comment about UK tabloids. He said that UK tabloids are like TMZ, but TMZ on steroids. And indeed, they are TMZ on steroids and mostly racist. Look at Camilla Tominey is a liar, trying to downplay the fact that Meghan experienced racism and saying that Meghan experienced anti-American rhetoric, as if being anti-American was some sort of better from UK tabloids. It was not. Meghan experienced xenophobia. Nothing is good about xenophobia. Camilla Tominey is a liar. I'm telling you, these people who work for UK tabloids, one qualification about working for UK tabloids is that you should have zero scruples. Zero scruples, zero morals. No wonder you have, currently in the UK, they have Prime Minister Boris Johnson, head of government. Clearly, the man lacks morals. The same person who, Rachel Johnson, as I come back to Rachel Johnson, I'm back to Rachel Johnson right now. Rachel Johnson said this. He wrote articles saying that Meghan's rich and exotic DNA would thicken the royal family blue blood. That's what she said. She admitted in the future, after Prince Harry had talked about the pain of having to watch his wife undergo racism at the hands of UK tabloids, Prince Harry said in the Me You Can't See, there were stories about how Meghan's exotic DNA would thicken the Windsor's watery, thin blue blood. You can clearly see that if Prince Harry is saying it, Meghan must have seen it. Now imagine that. Meghan is a human being. Imagine the pain that she felt reading those kinds of comments, reading that kind of racism. Rude and racist are not the same thing. And Rachel Johnson had the audacity to say that she'd taken some classes and known that what she said was completely wrong. I can tell you one thing for sure. The family of Boris Johnson lacks morals. They do not have morals whatsoever. They don't have morals. They do not have morals. And working for UK tabloids, both Rachel Johnson and Boris Johnson are both written articles for UK tabloids, both of them. So imagine picking someone who lacks morals to head the UK government. Then what do you have? What do you have in the UK? Can anybody justify what the UK calls media, the UK tabloids? They're like TMZ on steroids because that's who they are. I won't even get into the fact that of what baby Archie was called when he was born by someone called Danny Baker of the BBC. He made a racist comment toward baby Archie when he was born. That even brings you to the ideas and the thoughts of when Meghan was pregnant, the Queen was very, very silent when Meghan was being abused every single day. And the only explanation is the fact that they wanted Meghan to lose the baby. That's the only explanation. That's the only explanation for remaining silent when the mother basically comes to HR, as Meghan said in the Oprah interview, asking for help. She was not okay with the constant bullying every single day, morning talk shows dedicated to inciting hate towards one woman. A person goes on national TV, called a carnival or so-called expert, saying, "I've never met Meghan," then proceeds to insult Meghan Markle. While she was pregnant, he said that he has no sympathy whatsoever for Meghan. A so-called carnival or so-called expert. So tell me, put any single person, put even this racist women targeting Meghan in a position of such bullying and abuse, and immediately white woman tears start coming out immediately, and they call themselves victims immediately. Now, a person, one of these so-called hate accounts, when the report by Christopher Bowsey for Boss Sentinel was released, when the report was released of the hate content targeting Meghan, the person immediately issued a comment saying that I am not a hate account. Most of the information that I get are on the public domain. And they say that they are entitled to privacy. The same person was a few weeks ago, according to the report. If you read the report and if you see the report, you'll find out that that person was asking about Meghan's address in California, was actually asking for their mailbox in California. Imagine those kinds of racist people. And these people need to be deplatformed. The people inciting hate towards others, they should never ever have a platform. And I repeat one thing, rude and racist is not the same. And the Queen was silent all throughout. Someone she calls a much-loved member of the royal family was being bullied every single day. The underlying message of this media coverage that Meghan experienced, which is often couched in satire, as BBC said when they published that article, when they were making this stick content on BBC, they portrayed Meghan as an angry black woman threatening to knife Kate Middleton. The complete racism, even before Meghan even joined the royal family. That was what she was experiencing. Now, imagine what happened to her when she was in the royal family. We've seen it. We've all seen it with our own two eyes. And this type of media coverage, which is often couched in satire, a long-standing vehicle for spreading racist ideologies, is that Meghan, the daughter of a black woman descended from enslaved Africans, will taint the British monarchy. We've heard them publicly say that. We've heard them say all of this. And they've been so open and brazen about it. UK tabloids don't hide their racism towards Meghan. And the BBC called what they did satire. They didn't call it racism because racism is the word for it, of what they did to Meghan long before she even joined the royal family. Now, one might assume the Sussexes' wealth and status will insulate them from offensive comments, or that the royal family has offered emotional support and protection as Meghan weathered mounting racist attacks. But Oprah Winfrey's interview with Prince Harry and Meghan dispels that notion. The royal family, the Queen even, was very quiet as Meghan was being abused every single day. According to the couple, not only did the firm fail to correct the damaging tabloid narrative around Meghan during her first pregnancy, unnamed members of the royal family voiced concerns to Prince Harry about how dark their unborn child's skin might be. Now, following speculation that Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, initiated this conversation due to his well-known history of off-handed racist remarks, Oprah issued a follow-up statement clarifying the discussions about the baby's skin color did not involve Prince Harry's grandparents. And to be honest with you, that's a bit shocking because Prince Philip has a history of making racist comments towards people of African descent, black people. He has a huge history, actually had a huge history of making racist comments. Prince Philip passed away. Now, one thing I want to say about this fact, now that I think about it, is the fact that, first of all, I'm happy that Meghan left this royal family. I'm happy that she left and went back to America. As UK tabloids bullied her to go back to America, I'm happy that she went back to America. One thing is for sure, one question you need to ask yourself is who benefits the most from the racist coverage of Meghan, that is of Sussex? And two names come into mind, Kate Middleton and Prince William. Both of them are benefited the most. But prior to even Archie's birth, as Meghan even said in the Oprah interview, now Queen Elizabeth II chose not to amend the 1917 letters patent issued by King George V, stipulating that for great-grandchildren of a sovereign, only the eldest living son of the eldest son of the Prince of Wales, currently Prince George, will be considered a prince, in contrast to her treatment of Prince William's children, all of whom are titled as a result of a 2012 royal directive. The Queen has left Archie. I repeat, the Queen of England has been silent and has left Archie, the first child of color born into the British royal family during an era when the UN, the United Nations, has categorized white supremacist hate groups as a growing transnational threat, to wait to receive a title and the enhanced royal security protection it affords until his grandfather, Prince Charles, becomes king. And actually, according to recent conversations, is the fact that even Prince Charles would deny Archie the title of prince. According to recent conversations, which we've heard even UK tabloids so brazenly says that that baby Archie will be denied the title of prince, the first mixed race child born into the royal family. Now, the details revealed in Oprah's interview with the Sussexes underscore the long and unacknowledged history of colonial slavery, white privilege, and racism in Britain, particularly within the royal family. The current Queen's distant ancestors launched England into the transatlantic slave trade and are responsible for the enslavement of and death of millions of African captives. In 1672, Charles II chartered the Royal African Company with the intention of supplying enslaved Africans to England's Caribbean and North American plantation colonies. His younger brother, James, Duke of York, was the company's honorary governor and its largest shareholder. The Royal African Company represented the culmination of over a century of small-scale slave trading initiatives endorsed by the English monarchy, beginning with Elizabeth I's support of John Harkin's slaving expeditions in the 1560s to deliver African captives to Spanish America. The Stuart and Hanoverian monarchs promoted and profited personally from the expansion of African slave trading and colonial slavery, and oversaw the development of a vast exploitative empire that strengthened mainland Britain and the royal family at the expense of marginalized people across Europe, the Americas, Asia, Africa, and the Oceania. While the legacies of slavery and imperialism ran deep in Britain, the full extent of the afterlife of the British Empire and its continued negative impact on Black Britons remains little understood by white Britons. Nearly a third of British citizens think the British Empire is something to be proud of, and that racism no longer exists in Britain. As the historian Meyer Jasanoff notes, and I quote, "Scratch almost any institution with roots in Britain's era of global dominance, and you'll draw imperial blood," end of quote, and none more so than the British monarchy. Yet even as the Black Lives Matter movement and grassroots protests have swept across Britain, Elizabeth II has never publicly acknowledged that the royal family has directly benefited from centuries of colonialism, slavery, and racial violence and exploitation. The British monarchy has not issued a statement condemning racism in all its form, even towards Meghan, or apologizing for its historical role in enslaving millions of Africans and people of African descent. Royal protocol dictates that the British monarchy avoid expressing political opinions, but the addition of Meghan Markle to the royal family offered a ready-made opportunity for the institution to embrace change and signal a willingness to make amends for past sins, but it didn't take that opportunity. As a young, mixed-race royal couple, the Sussexes were uniquely positioned to assist the British monarchy to strengthen ties with the Commonwealth nations and offer moral leadership as Britain reckons with its brutal imperial past. Protecting Meghan from the press, the UK tabloids, which are mostly TMZ on steroids and mostly racist, extending a title to her and Prince Harry's children, and beefing up the Sussexes' security detail would have offered guidance to a nation still in denial about its racist history and the very real dangers of white supremacy. Historical amnesia about slavery and the coerced contributions of marginalized people to the birth of modern Britain has consequences. In July 2020, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex called for Britain to confront its colonial past and the persistence of institutional racism. While the Sussexes, now out of the picture of the UK royal family as senior royals, perhaps permanently, this much needed reckoning is increasingly unlikely to come from within the royal family. Once again, the British monarchy demonstrates that it is not only out of touch with the current generation, but still quietly, actually not quietly anymore, very publicly embracing white supremacy. Without a shadow of a doubt, it clearly shows it is doing just that. As Meghan said, the conversation about Archie not having the prince title have begun a long time ago. And even for Meghan and Harry, it was about security. They wanted security for Archie. And clearly, even in light of what we see right now, the UK royal family, the Queen isn't even willing to make a phone call to Home Office, Priti Patel and Boris Johnson to allow Prince Harry to pay for his security, not for the taxpayer to foot the bill, for Prince Harry to personally pay the bill. They won't even allow it. And there goes much about the hypocrisy of the royal family calling Harry, Archie, and Meghan much-loved members of the royal family. The Queen will remain silent because she is the definition and the representation of white supremacy in the UK, and the fact that the monarchy clearly will never ever change and adapt to the changing times. It will continue living in the 1960 generation, the 60s, the 50s generation, and even dress like the 60s and never ever change. And we know what happened in the 60s. The fact that black, brown, mixed race people were oppressed and even to this day continue to be oppressed. And the Queen's silence shows exactly which side she is on. And the Queen is not clean in all of this. Make no mistake about that. I'll stop there. I'll stop right there. Stay tuned to our next video and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and tell us what you think about our recent podcast. Leave a comment below. With so much love from Sasco Family TV, stay tuned to our next video.